Today in Honey Neats Makes This, we're going to take this permanent vinyl to update my computer. Let's make this. My inspiration for this project is twofold. The first is my little bright yellow slip of paper that I have got stuck to my computer that says print then cut 16.45 times 25.27. I put that there because I'm doing a lot of sticker work lately and I always have to Google what size the sticker page needs to be on Design Space. So I want to get rid of it because I think it's ugly having just that little piece of paper and it's all scribbled on because I'm sure Cricut changed the size of the print then cut. So that's my first. The second is laptop skins. It is so easy to personalize your laptop, especially if you've got a Cricut, because we've got all of these vinyls and things at our disposal, and all we need to do is work out what we want it to look like. And it's so interchangeable. You don't have to keep your laptop skin forever. You can take it off, you can put a new one on. It's such a really cool little hobby and a really great way to decorate a piece of equipment that you're using a lot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to have it look like everybody else's, and you can add a little bit of personality. So for today's project, we're going to have to use a long standard grip mat. So you can see here it's the 24-inch one, or if you're in Australia, I'm using the 60 centimetre one. So this is the really long one. The reason we need that is because the length of my computer screen is at least 50 centimetres long. And then I've got my adhesive vinyl folder of scraps to get the name component. And then I've got a roll of this, and I really love it, but it's like a brushed metal pink adhesive. It's a Cricut vinyl, and it's a bit tricky to use, but I really like the colour and the feel of it. It's got like a little texture in it. So I'm going to see if I can use that. So we're going to do our project in Design Space today. So I'm just starting a new project. I'm doing a blank canvas because I'm going to first of all create the template. So I've gone over to shapes and I've measured my computer screen and I've come up with the size 52.5 centimetres across and 6 centimetres down. So that's the size of just that silver strip along the bottom of the of my computer. So I've changed that to a guide rather than a shape. And so you can see now I've got that pink outline. Gone into images and I've gone to patterns. And then I have gone to free. So Design Space have a number of free patterns that you can use, which is great. I really love that. And the ones that I have found are actually quite good. So I'm going to start with this floral one. I play around with it for a little while, but my issue is that it does not match up. So I can't repeat it. I'm looking for some kind of repetitious pattern that I can kind of join together because it's a really long space that I'm trying to create. And if I can't repeat it, then it's going to look off. And I don't want it to look like it's over, like here's one part of it and here's the next part of it and here's the next part of it. I want it all to be as seamless as possible. But I do like this one, and it's I don't know, it's like a tile really. And so I think the reason that I like this one so much is I can repeat it. It's very simple to see how it all joins up together. And it kind of, I really like Art Deco kind of design. So I'm like bold, I like bright, but I also like Art Deco, which kind of also fits into that category. And I think this has got a real Art Deco feel to it. So what I'm doing here, I'm just repeating it 3 times so that I can fit it across the length of my shape. I don't want to make it too big because otherwise each of those little, I don't know, ghost looking things, they're all going to, they're just going to get too big and it's just going to look like one shape and I want it to look like it's kind of a bit tiled. So I've got 3 of them. I've highlighted them all. I've gone down to combine and I've united them. The reason I've done that is because I then want to do a slice. You can't slice multiple images with a shape. You have to do a slice on a full image. So what I've done is I've united it so that I can do the slice. Then you can see that I've had to play around with where I'm going to place my pattern to do the slice. And the reason I've had to do that is because I want it to not only look good, but also I want it to have similar top and bottom. And I want it to nearly end exactly the same. So I want it to be as even as possible. So you can see there that once I've got my guide and I've moved around my pattern, that once I've selected both the guide and the pattern and done a slice, that the slice of that orange component is even. So the top has a nearly even. It's not completely even, but it's nearly even. The top has divots from the top down. The bottom has divots from the top up, and then you've got 2 sets of ghosts all the way through. They're not ghosts, I know that, but they kind of look a bit ghosty. Now the next part of it is to create a gap for my apple symbol. Now I thought about doing this by just going straight over the top, but then it would have looked weird, and maybe I could have even found an apple symbol and done a cutout of that. But I thought if I just do a circle, then that should work. So I've got a 4 centimeter circle because the apple symbol on my computer is 4 centimeters high, or it's 3.5 centimeters high. And I don't want anything to mess with that height. So I've gone 4 centimeter circle rather than an oval because it's a bit thinner than it is tall. But if I just did the circle, then I've gone and I have done another slice. So I've taken the orange tile pattern, I've centered it with the circle. So I've gone up to a line and I've done center, and then I've done a slice and I've gotten rid of that circle. So now I've got my pattern and I've got a gap for the apple symbol to fit. My last job is to create the print then cut text. So I want to put the words print then cut, and then I want to put the measurements. So I've got print then cut, and then I've got 16.45 and X for multiplied or by 25.27. Then I'm looking for a font that kind of goes with this design, and I know I've got one in there. So what I've done is I've gone to Fontbox. Now, if you are an Apple user, not Fontbox, Fontbook is how you can have a look at all of your fonts. You could also use Wordmark. So if you went back and had a look at Organize My Craft Space, where I redid my magazine files, I actually go through how to use Wordmark to look for fonts that are already in your computer system. Maybe ones that you've downloaded from 1001 Fonts, or ones that are in your preloaded system. But anyway, I've chosen Wetware as my font because I think it's got a little bit of an Art Deco feel to it, and I've found that through Fontbook. Then once I've placed it, I'm putting it on the right hand side of my decal. And then I'm going to put an offset. Now, the reason I want an offset is because I then want that space on my design to place those letters without there being any overlap and without there being any opportunity for risen vinyl and things like that. So I've done an offset of about 3.5. I started with 4, but I didn't want it to be 0.4, sorry, and 0.35. I didn't want it to be too fat because I didn't want it taking up the whole the whole pattern or the whole decal. So I've done a slice. So I've chosen the offset around the words print then cut. Then I've done a slice. I've gotten rid of that slice results. So now I've got this outline essentially that is around the outside of print then cut. Then I've used the contour function to get rid of any of those other different small bits of vinyl that I don't want the machine to cut because it could cause a little bit of an issue. Then I've gone and I've gotten rid of any of the other small components of my design. So that's around the circle as well, the part where the apple symbol's going to be. So I've gone over to, I've clicked on the orange pattern and I've gone to contour. So if you can click on contour, you can play around with it and get rid of just small parts that maybe don't look as easy for the machine to cut. And that, you know, the machine will have a go at it, but it could also just cause you a little bit of an issue and you've got to try and weed around it and that kind of stuff. So now that I've got the circle sorted, I've got my contours sorted, I've got the print then cut done, next thing is to save it. So I did change the text to orange because I thought about putting it all on one mat. After I chose my print then cut vinyl, I realized that my pink vinyl is actually a bit of a hard one to cut. So I needed to do some more, like a heavier cut on it. So I decided to change it. So I've got two mats. First mat is going to be a really long mat. So that's 60 centimeter one or the 24 inch, I think, mat. And that's going to be for the pattern decal. I've got this pink brushed Cricut vinyl for that. So I've got that on the long mat. And then I'm going to just use some tech wrap, and it's a blue vinyl for the print then cut. So you can see here that it's come up in my make component that they're on the same mat. All I need to do is click on those little dots and just move and click on move object. And then I just choose a new mat for that. So you just choose a color and it creates a new mat. I've also, you'll notice, changed it to the 30 centimeter mat. So I've got one long green mat and then I've got all the rest of my green mats are 30 centimeters. So I didn't want to have to go through it twice. I wanted to just put my new vinyl on a new mat. So I've just changed it to the 30 centimeter mat. So then for the print then cut, I've just done a regular metallic vinyl. And then for the long one, which is the pattern, I noticed on the back of the vinyl, it said premium vinyl. So I thought if I do a search for premium vinyl, and I know that it's a textured or it's actually a brush. So I'm going to choose that true brushed, premium vinyl / true brushed or dash. And then I'm going to choose more pressure just to make sure, because I have had issue with it cut with, if I've just done regular pressure, I have had issues with it not cutting all the way through. So let's get on to making. So you can see here, this is the part that we're going to put this decal on. So I'm hoping that it's the right size to start with. Yeah, looks pretty good. So that's going to go straight across there. I think it's going to look cute actually. Obviously, this is my usual print then cut little scrap of paper. So this is why I kind of want to fix it. And it's, you know, everything gets grotty. You think that you're not touching your bottom of your computer here because you don't, like, I don't turn it on or anything like that, but there's still some little grotty marks and there's fingerprints and all that kind of stuff. So just with some rubbing alcohol, I use ice coal that I get from Coles, but I think you can get it at Woolies or probably even Bunnings. But just give it a nice little clean. This is to get rid of any fingerprints. This is to help adhere the vinyl. And then this is the moment of truth. So I've got my decal here. I've used my scraper to really press it down, and I'm just going to do one more just to make sure. Oh, look, there it is. So a little bit of gravity sometimes helps. So if you're struggling to lift your backing paper off, then just place your decal down, and then hopefully on most parts that will then stick to that transfer tape. This one also, quite possibly, I could have used the stronger grip tape. I did get that. I don't know if it was this this vinyl. May very well have been, and I'm probably using just the standard stuff, but I do have some really strong, I think it's called Strong Tack vinyl transfer tape, and it could have very well been for this. Now, I'm going to have a little think about this. I think what I'm going to do, because there's a hole, I've put a hole here in my decal, and it's to go over around this, my apple symbol. So I think what I'm going to do is I might start in the middle. It could be a disaster, it could be genius, but let's find out. So I'm going to put a little bit of the backing paper back down over the top of this, and then I'll put the other half on this side. So then we can place the decal in the middle here. Now, I'll turn it around. Is that better for the camera? Yeah, I reckon it is. All right. So I'm trying to line it up so that it matches. I might go from the base. So that base bit first, so then I don't have to do any extra cutting. So that looks pretty straight. So I've got that bit down first. Oh, this is actually one of the most stressful ones I've done, I think. But I think in the end it's going to be amazing. All right, and then hopefully if I then pull this side, now my issue is going to be that some of this decal isn't lifting off it's not sticking to my transfer tape. And that is a real shame. But sometimes you can force these things. Sometimes you can't. Oh look, that whole decal hasn't stuck to the transfer tape. All right, maybe I'll do another little run over. Oops. Here we go. I'll pull this closer to me, and then hopefully I do this and then work backwards. Let's see. No, still doesn't want to come off. Oh no, there we go. Come on, be my friend. Biggest worry is that this won't work, and then I'm going to end up with problems on the base. Might be okay. This is going to take some time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this up because I feel like it really doesn't want to play nicely with me. So rather than watching me tediously place this decal down, oh, I think I might have got a little process here. But anyway, oh, no. I'm missing one. No. All right. I'm going to speed this up. Okay, so far, I think this is fantastic. I'm loving it. I think it's pretty straight. There's a little, I think I've got a little bit wonked down the bottom here. And then obviously, because we've got the rounded corner, I'm just going to need to use my just little stencil knife to cut each of these corners off, because they've just gone a little bit over, but that was expected. So that's not new information. So now the last step is to put the print then cut, and it's got to go here. So same process really. So I'm just going to, for one more go, just give a little run over the back. So by doing the back, you're putting that more pressure down onto the transfer tape. All right. And then it is a matter of making sure that I'm lining this up as perfect as possible. So the T spot here is going to be the T and the 7. See, there's a spot there for 7. So they're going to be my little reference spots. And the X there's a good one too. But I think... Did it shuffle? Oh no, it shuffled. Oh, how annoying. It shuffled over right at that last minute. See how this P is now over here, and my beautifully lined up T has moved. I don't think you can see. Let's see if I move it in. See how now that's over this side, and that T, it was beautifully lined up in the middle, and that 7. But that's okay. It's just, I should have breathed out instead of breathed in, I think, is what happened just there. But again, it's one of those, to my eye, I can see the problem. I wonder if anyone else is going to notice. But how good is that? I'm actually really happy with this. I know that I say this every time and I go, oh my gosh, I'm just really shocked with how good this turned out. And I really probably should start trusting my judgment. But there are some bubbles in here though. So I could have, I don't know if this would have worked on the wet method actually. I didn't even think to do it. Because it's a brushed metal, the bottom of the computer. I don't know if that would have worked actually. But anyway, we won't know now because I've already gone ahead and done it. But how good is that? So I'm just going to use my stencil knife or a scalpel or a craft knife to just do a little bit of trimming here. So this is a curved corner, and I was thinking about doing a curved shape as the cutout, but in Design Space, the curved shape kind of, it does a weird elongate, and it does the same thing in Canva. I don't know what that is, but when you make it different sizes, the corners don't necessarily stay with what you think you've got. So they kind of get a little bit too pointy, or they turn into a full oval. So I didn't want that. So, but because it's only that tiniest, these tiny little grippy bits, I'll try and zoom in here. See how it's just this little bit here? That's the issue. I think just doing a little cut with a stencil knife is really all that's needed, because otherwise it fits so nicely. Yes. I love it. I'm really happy with this final result. I love the fact that I've got the great colouring. I've got this print then cut, and you can change these out. So it doesn't mean that just because I've done it for this project that this pink and blue has to stay. I don't have to keep that print then cut there. But for now, because I do so many stickers and things now with my market and my Etsy store, the print then cut, I always have to Google it. So I'm really happy with having that. Now the colouring, see my sleep screen or my login screen? I didn't realise, but it actually matches. So the blue here matches here, And then this bright pink matches the pink colouring. So I'm really happy with that one. This is a great project if you've got your own computer. You could even do this on the back of a laptop as well. This is a computer skin essentially. So you could have a laptop skin and you could create your own. And I think it's a really great project for beginners, because beginners can kind of do just a little bit of slicing, a bit of uniting, and we're just using basic patterns, so the weeding wasn't too hard. But also great if you are a crafter who does a lot of it, because look, like I said, even though this is not fully permanent, this is here for the long haul for now. So if you've got a couple of little, like it could even say, don't forget to mirror. It could be, I don't know, the size of t-shirt decals. There's a whole heap of different things that you could really put on there, and it could have done something on this side as well. But yeah, I'm really happy with this project. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see some of your designs if you want to place them in the comments below. But I'll see you next week for a new market vlog. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget, you can always jump on my Instagram, head over to my Etsy store, or even check out the videos YouTube recommends for you down below.